and welcome to the news. We're reaching you live from our Abuja studios. As usual, Wednesday package offers an eclectic ensemble of local and global issues. We will also be tracking developing stories in key sectors of the nation's economy, while taking perspectives from experts and key stakeholders on the destination of state. Tonight, as campaign season begins, stakeholders warn political parties and their spokespersons on hate speech and personal attacks, advise them to stick to issue-based campaigns. Still on politics, INEC presents certificates of return to Governor Ademola Adeleke and Deputy after their victory in the Osun governorship election.
Mr. President, I really appreciate you, Mr. President, for making democracy to stay in Nigeria.
Flood threat. FCTA continues demolition of structures on waterways. Service gets new head as President Bola Tinubu appoints Ebul Olumuyiwa as new helmsman. And on business and the economy, the federal government unveils 4 platforms to close a gender finance gap with 4.5 million women to benefit. We'll hear details of this and more from Musa Abubakar, while Badia Deleye is a man on the spot for sports. As we say on this shift, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Yan Ray John, and this is News Extra. Welcome. Let's set sail tonight as the Federal Executive Council has approved the establishment of a drafting committee for a 5-year strategic defense plan towards a sustainable solution to the security challenges in Nigeria. This is one of the major outcomes of the Council's meeting this Wednesday. State House correspondent Musbaudan Wahab has details of this and more resolutions of the meeting.
The 4th meeting of the Federal Executive Council for the year came up to be one of the longest, with about 50 memoranda considered by members. So too are the outcomes. Apparently, the Bola Tinubu's administration is taking its action a step at a time in checking insecurity in the country, as strategic as they come. In this latest phase in the series, is the Council's approval for the establishment of a committee to draft a 5-year strategic defense plan for the nation.
The essence of this is to look at our overall national threat assessment. We'll also look at the principal framework for the establishment of military and defense cooperation for Nigeria. Now, this is all part of the robust plan that Mr. President has to ensure that the security of lives and property for Nigerians is further guaranteed.
Members of the committee, which include the defense ministers, security chiefs, have 90 days to submit their draft. Similarly, the government continues with its plan for men and women of the armed forces with additional provision of housing as part of the 5-year 10,000 units of housing promised to them.
Direct purchase of 600 units of 4-bedroom terrace duplexes at Bristol City Development Light Camp Abuja for the armed forces.
The priority of the administration on education also got a boost for sustainable funding, as President Tinubu directed, as endorsed by the Council, that all fully recovered looted funds by the EFCC be channeled towards funding the student loan scheme through NEL Fund.
The President also directed, and this was also approved by FEC, that all unclaimed dividends from the Capital Market Trust Fund and the Dormant Account Trust Fund, those unclaimed dividends should also be directed to NEL Fund, so that NEL Fund will be financially buoyant to meet its growing obligations.
Also, in education, the Council approved about 156 billion naira as augmentation to complete the National Library project, which has dragged for more than 18 years. This is in addition to the 25 billion naira already raised by the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. And still on the purported Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, confirmed as fake by the ICPC, the government is going a step further as the council directed forensic investigation to prevent future reoccurrence.
Mr. President directed that review should extend to the integrated personnel and payroll information system that we call IPPIS. Because if you have fake agencies, you most likely have fake employees. What is important is to establish what went wrong, how it can be prevented, and going forward, how we can make our systems stronger.
The FEC also approved signing of treaties on avoidance of double taxation to enhance trade relations with Ghana, Tanzania, and Switzerland, respectively. In the 7 memos of the Ministry of Works, the Council approved the construction of 4 roads, including the east-west section of the Port Harcourt on a port, as well as concessioning of trailer parks in parts of the country.
The essence of these trailer parks is to ensure that we move those trailers from our roads, from our highways, to give them a befitting site that they will be able to park their trailers, and it's going to be design, build, operate, and transfer with no kobo from the federal government.
In health, the Council approved award of contracts to modernize some departments of the National Hospital, Abuja, as well as construction of modular clinic and theatres in the hospital. In some cases in the country, some Nigerians have been tried for attempting suicide based on the existing laws which criminalize the act, but this administration is taking steps towards decriminalizing attempted suicide,
which treat individuals experiencing psychological distress as offenders rather than persons in need of care and support. This legal approach discourages help-seeking behaviors and also conflicts with our National Mental Health Act 2021, which provides for supportive care, protection and treatment for individuals at risk of self-harm.
The Council honored late Abubakar Alhaji, who served as Minister of Finance under the Ibrahim Babangida administration and former Minister of Science and Technology in the Olusegun Obasanjo's administration, Professor Turner Isol. Both passed away last month.
May the souls of the faithful departed rest in peace. Amen.
From the State House, Musbal and Wahab, NTA News.
Many thanks, Musbal. Meanwhile, Nigeria saved an estimated 15.8 trillion naira from fuel subsidy removal in 3 years. Savings, the federal government says, went directly into wages, debt service, infrastructure, and social intervention programs across the country. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Taiwo Oyedele, disclosed this while presenting Nigeria's reform scorecard at a press conference in Abuja. Nika Oko reports.
Benefits, costs, and harms prevented. That was how the Finance Minister framed Nigeria's 3-year reform scorecard, outlining how the savings have been deployed between June 2023 and December 2025, while also acknowledging the cost of living burden the reforms imposed. Breakdown of the subsidy savings shows that out of the 15.8 trillion naira, the federal government got 5.43 trillion naira, states received 6.52 trillion naira, and local government areas got 3.88 trillion naira. These savings, combined with other incremental revenues and borrowing, the minister added, produced 20.4 trillion naira in additional federal resources, with total incremental spending by the federal government over the same period reaching 30.64 trillion naira.
It is instructive that the single largest expenditure line, wage adjustments,
at 9.39 trillion outstrip the federal government's entire saving from subsidy removal. This is evidence that the reform was never introduced for revenue purposes.
Part of the money also funded social programs, 223.8 billion naira for NEL-fund student loans, 150 billion naira for affordable housing through the Mortgage Refinance Fund, and 50 billion naira for consumer credit under Credit Corp. On infrastructure, the government listed the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway, and Trans-Sahara Superhighway as major projects funded.
We will stay the course of reform and accelerate how we translate the macro gains into meaningful impacts for every household.
Citizens have a right to know the financial implications of major economic decisions taken on their behalf. They have a right to know what resources have been freed up, what these resources mean for the Federation, and how the benefits of these reforms are being translated into tangible improvements in their lives.
The government's position is that the reforms, though painful in the short term, has freed up resources that are now being channeled to areas that directly impact Nigerians. In Abuja, Nekauku, NTA News.
Similarly, Vice President Kashim Shettima says Nigeria's ambition to build a $1 trillion economy cannot be achieved without the full participation of women, as the federal government unveils 4 strategic platforms to bridge the gender gap in financial inclusion drive. It stated this during the 2nd National Gender Inclusion Conference, tagged She's Included 2026, held at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa. The conference, organized by the Presidential Committee on Economic Inclusion in the Office of the Vice President, with the theme, Designing for Delivery, from Financial Inclusion to Economic Transformation for the Nigerian Woman. Vice President Kashim Shettima, represented by the Special Advisor to the President on General Duties, Aliyu Modibo Umar, says the $1 trillion Nigeria's economic ambition will remain out of reach if women continue to face structural barriers to finance markets, skills, and other opportunities. The She Is Included initiative must move beyond an annual campaign and become an enduring national delivery framework for women's economic prosperity, as the Ministry of Women Affairs disclosed that the Nigeria for Women program, Scale Up, had expanded its Women's Affinity Group model to 4.5 million women, organized into 300,000 groups nationwide.
And to $1 trillion economy that works for every Nigerian. Let us design it for delivery. Let us finance transformation. Let us scale up what works. And let us build a Nigeria in which no woman is excluded from the opportunity to contribute, participate, and benefit from our nation's prosperity.
She Is Included must therefore become a national coalition for delivery. Federal institutions providing policy coherence, state governments translating ambition into last-mile execution, financial institutions redesigning products around women's realities, the private sector bringing innovation, markets, and capital development.
The difficulty is that our system were built to recognize collateral, and women hold less of it and far more of character. The collateral was invented to substitute. I'm sure you all agree with me that in 2018, when AMCON released the list of 105 top delinquent debtors, there was no single woman, but they all had collateral.
We need to come together in line with ASO Accord to collaborate to achieve this laudable objective.
Stakeholders identified the platforms as digital trusts, infrastructure, data for accountability, blended finance, and the National Income Activation Initiative. High point of the open day session was the unveiling of the National Income Activation Initiative, delivered in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, an initiative aimed at converting inclusion into income through skills acquisition, markets, digital tools, finance, and business support. Now, let's talk about the Osun governorship election, which held on Saturday. Governor Ademola Adeleke and his deputy, Kola Adewusi, have formally received their certificates of return from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, following their victory in the August 15 Osun governorship election. Femi Afaraogun has the details.
Presentation of certificates of return to Governor Ademola Adeleke and his deputy, Kola Adewusi, represents an important statutory and constitutional step by INEC, formally affirming the mandate freely given by the electorate. The commission described the election as seamless and efficiently conducted, stressing that electoral credibility depends on the collective vigilance of all stakeholders.
INEC did not come to Osun with a preferred candidate, and neither did we come with a preferred political party. We came with the Nigerian constitution. We came with unwavering commitment to the Nigerian people.
I want to commend the people of Osun State through your peaceful conduct, patience, and commitment to democratic values. You demonstrated once again that democracy flourishes where citizens actively and responsibly participate in governance process.
For Governor Ademola Adeleke, the certificate represents more than a document. It symbolizes the renewed trust of the people and the responsibility to meet their expectations.
Today has changed the landscape of Osun State. Osun State absolutely like to seize this opportunity to thank the INEC.
To the President of Nigeria, Governor Adeleke has this to say.
Mr. President, I really appreciate you, Mr. President, for making democracy to stay in Nigeria. That's all that we want.
The presentation marks the end of one phase of the democratic journey and the beginning of another, which is translating the people's mandate into effective governance. In Osogbo, Femi Afaraogun, NTA News.
Still on elections, it's official. Campaigns for the 2027 presidential and National Assembly elections begin today. And INEC says fake news is a major challenge that must be addressed. INEC therefore is engaging its spokespersons nationwide on the task ahead. Mie Ogidi captured the session.
In the world of politics in Nigeria, 2027 has already arrived in 2026. Presidential and National Assembly campaigns begin, and for now, moving in a positive direction. But there are fears, the fear of fake news, misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech. The social media, which has the capacity to go viral and get the country agog, is sometimes exploited with recklessness and causing violence. Mohammed Kudu Aruna, the INEC man in charge of voter education and publicity, bringing his media heads nationwide under one roof on strategic communication, focusing on key aspects to make fake news irrelevant in the political arena.
At the end of the, this workshop, you will be much better, in your job.
Our target is to have HODs who will ensure the commission is visible, accessible, and accountable to the public.
For those that have been on the hot seat of managing information in INEC, and those viewing from the rear think the media unit of INEC is the image of the commission.
Nigerians must prepare for elections, and that preparation means there must be voter education. Voter education for voters to see that there's a direct connection between who they're voting and what happens to them after elections.
Prompt release of information, the correct, accurate information has to be accessible to people. So when misinformation comes, people get to hear the official version.
INEC is targeting 100 million voters in the 2027 general election. And to keep these voters informed with the right information, INEC has to tackle the issue of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. And that can only be achieved with the training they are giving to their spokespersons from the 36 states and the FCT. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
Well, thanks, Mia. Maybe we should also add, stay tuned to the NTA to get factual news. Now, Political groups are beginning to activate their structures and messaging ahead of the 2027 general election following the commencement of campaigns. One of such groups is the Hope Alive initiative, which has unveiled a multi-grassroots campaign platform in support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election. Charles Alpha has details.
The political road to the 2027 general election is now open, with support groups activating their structures ahead of the polls. In Abuja, the Hope Alive initiative has launched the first phase of its grassroots campaign in support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election. The campaign combines street mobilization with traditional and digital media, including about 40 human mascots deployed across strategic locations in the FCT, a citywide SMS campaign, and a weekly pidgin radio program.
When we recognize where there is good governance, all we do is to encourage it. Now, we've recognized that in Tinubu, because today is the beginning of the campaign for 2027 presidential election. So we think we must give our own little contribution in making the people realize that he is the person that they should look up to.
Director of Press and Communication, Hope Alive Initiative, Ernest Omoaralioje, says the program will explain government policies and projects in simple language, while an original campaign jingle will further drive its message across media platforms. The director says its support for President Tinubu is based on reforms in areas including petroleum, foreign exchange, security, taxation, education, through net fund, local government autonomy, and infrastructure.
Rating agencies across the world are unanimous in the claim that he has stabilized the economy. What remains to be done is to grow that economy. Now, for some Nigerians, they say, oh, you don't bribe those people. Can you bribe the IMF? Can you bribe the World Bank? Can you bribe the WTA? There are so many things to talk about. All that we want Nigeria to do is to look at facts as they are.
The Abuja activation is only the first phase of a broader grassroots and media campaign that will continue as the country heads towards the 2027 general elections. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Oh, well, the whistle has been blown to kickstart campaigns for the 2027 general election, and those ready to go are already on the move. Expectedly, supporters of the Tinubu-Shetima Continuity Forum from within and outside the Jerusalem community in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, gathered to witness the official flag-off of the presidential campaign by executives of the forum, as well as a medical outreach. Abubakar Musa was there.
This political gathering put together by the Tinubu-Shetima Continuity Forum, cutting across men, women and youths of diverse tribes and religions, seek to mobilize support for the APC ticket of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima ahead of the 2027 general election.
Let's all come out en masse and vote APC, irrespective of religion, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of gender. We are all Nigerians.
Series of landmark achievements of the Tinubu administration were highlighted, especially the provision of educational support to students through Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, and construction and reconstruction projects, as well as introduction of poverty alleviation initiatives, including provision of employment opportunities to the teeming youths.
For the coming of these people, the crowd of this Wulari Jerusalem, it has shown that APC will have vote in this area.
The impact of the renewed hope agenda across many communities in Nigeria was also brought to the fore, reawakening the need to ensure the overall victory of all APC candidates at the 2027 polls.
We believe in the leadership of Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We believe in the leadership of His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, especially Kashim Shettima being a son of the soil. He has touched so many lives. He has impacted on so many communities in Borno and beyond.
The forum also acknowledged Governor Babagana Umar Zulum's remarkable achievements and endorsement of Mustafa Gubio.
What I want people to take home with them is there should be continuity. Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima should be given the chance to forge ahead for 2027.
The event ended with a strong message to participants to ensure they get their permanent voter cards and continue to spread the ideals of the All Progressives Congress. With the official commencement of campaigns for the presidential and National Assembly elections, Nigerians should not consider politics as a do-or-die affair, but rather a game of peace, unity, tolerance, and integrity for overall prosperity of the country. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Musa, NTA News.
The whole country is already feeling the heat of the campaigns already, and supporters of President Bola Tinubu have flagged off the door-to-door movement for continuity and re-election come 2027 general election. On this report, Elizabeth Omori brings us activities across some zones of the nation.
As campaigns officially kick off ahead of the 2027 general election, supporters are warming up for the re-election of President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima. In the North Central, Ajibola Christopher reports that a rally held in Lokoja, it drew supporters from Kogi, Niger, Nasarawa, Plateau, Kwara, and Benue states. The group called for unity among party members to drive the agenda for continuity.
We have come out en masse and to also ask for his support to continue his good work.
That the president has given contract for the new roads to be done dualized with concrete, linking Plateau State and Taraba State. That is enough for us to come out in mass and look for everybody to vote for Tinubu.
I want to commend His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his resilience, his capacity, the things he has been doing for Nigeria at large. We have to commend him.
During the door-to-door campaign in Yenagua, Governor Dwoyedere reminded supporters that mobilization is key and urged them to engage voters peacefully and respect divergent views.
Persuade them to accept the president of who he is and what he has done. Therefore, let our creed be very clear. Let it be guided by love. Love for our country, love for our zone, love for our state. Let our campaign be issue-based.
The president must see our votes come January, and we must give the president the number of votes that other regions cannot give.
Same exercise held in Adamawa to mobilize support for President Bola Tinubu and all other APC candidates in the state.
Thank you for your support for the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. To thank you for the confidence you have restored on his administration, the progress and the successes recorded.
We are here to say thank you to Mr. President for setting Nigeria on the right trajectory.
The youths are encouraged to shun acts of violence before, during, and after the general election. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Oh yes, the campaign season has begun as stipulated by the Independent National Electoral Commission 2027 general election timetable. Beyond the opening of the door for campaigns to begin, the tone and character of the campaigns equally matter to stakeholders. Director, Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, Dr. David Akoji, joins us tonight. Dr. Akoji, many thanks for being our guest.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good evening.
All right, it's a busy period, I must say. Political campaigns for the 2027 elections are officially underway. Now, what is the National Orientation Agency expecting from political parties? Do you want to see personality-driven politics, or you want to see issue-based campaigns?
Our desire of the political parties is for them to go for issue-based campaigns, and we think that this is what is critical, and that political actors should be evaluated on the basis of the issues that they are putting on the table, on their ability to present solution frameworks for the diverse challenges that we face as a country, their ability to show what they have achieved for those of them that are already in office. And then for those who are aspiring for office, we want to see their ability to showcase what alternative policies they have, and the advantages of those policies over what is already on ground, if any. That has been largely absent up until now. What we see is politicians mounting podiums, insulting each other and dancing, and carrying out ridiculous entertainment, which is completely diverting attention from the real issues that should be on the table.
Talking about insults, Dr. Okoji, campaigns often come with misinformation, hate speech, ethnic and religious rhetoric, vote buying, political violence, just name it. From NOA's grassroots perspective, which of these pose the greatest threat to a peaceful 2027 election, and how prepared is the agency to counter it?
We agree completely with INEC that the challenge of disinformation, is one of the most critical challenges to the 2027 elections. But we've learned a lot of lessons, from previous elections and how some political parties actually provided in their budget, funding for disinformation. And we have seen how disinformation was deployed, to mislead voters, and to create confusion and to put out very wrong information, So we're prepared. We're going to be doing social listening. What that means is that we will be scanning the social media environment, with a view to identifying such disinformation and malinformation, and then providing Nigerians with the truth. We are conscious of the fact that a lot of times when debunks, follow disinformation tends to travel faster than the debunks. So we're going to be deploying also pre-bunks. Pre-bunk means that you scan the environment and then you identify issues that are susceptible to disinformation. And then you quickly put out the truth so that people already know the truth by the time the disinformation is coming out. And that makes the disinformation less potent than it otherwise would have been. Over the years, we have carried out capacity building, for fact-checking, across the country. We have also carried out sensitization in marketplaces and motor parks, talking to people about the fact that they need to verify information before they share. We're going to upscale all of this, because we know that as we inch closer to the elections in 2027, some politicians will deploy disinformation as a political tool.
All right. Many thanks, Dr. Okoji. I do not want you, to let the cat out of the bag. All that you intend to do, to tackle the politicians and, of course, get the needful done. Wish you all the best this season, and we hope that you're able to fulfill your mandate as we prepare for the 2027 general election. Thank you very much, Dr. David Okoji.
Thank you.
All right. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed Abel Olumuyiwa Eniton as the new head of the Civil Service of the Federation, effective August 27, 2026. Eniton, the most senior permanent secretary from Osun State, succeeds Didi Esther Wilson-Jack, who will retire upon attaining the statutory age of 60. The new head of service has served as permanent secretary for 7 years and 7 months across the Ministry of Police Affairs, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Office of the Vice President, and is currently permanent secretary at the Federal Ministry of Education. President Tinubu commends Wilson-Jack for her reforms and innovations and wished her a fulfilling life after service. Eniton, born December 12, 1966, holds BSc in Finance and Banking from the University of Lagos and an MSc in Public Policy Analysis from Nasarawa State University, Lafayette. He attended Ajibode Grammar School, Ibadan, and the College of Arts and Science, Ile-Ife. This is News Extra. We have more news after this break. Please stay with us.
In heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning.
Many thanks for staying with us. Every year on August 19, the world celebrates the Humanitarian Day, dedicated to protect and honor aid workers for their impact and resilience. Ruth Aguela reports that the theme for this year is centered around strengthening global solidarity and empowering local communities.
Humanitarian work can be challenging, demanding, and at times deeply uncertain. Yet, they are called to serve. Service for humanity, providing succor to vulnerable groups in war-torn regions or disaster-torn communities. Today, the world celebrates their doggedness, resilience in the face of adversity, as they continue to strive for a better society. It is the World Humanitarian Day, a day to recognize and honor humanitarian workers while promoting advocacy to meet humanitarian needs globally. The burden of humanitarian crisis in the wake of dwindling international funding, the nation is embracing sustainable, locally driven and nationally led humanitarian responses, placing greater responsibility for coordination and response on governments and local actors. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, together with its partners, are commemorating the day with this high-level dialogue on ways to strengthen global solidarity, while acknowledging the role aid workers play amid rising global crisis.
Thousands of dedicated professionals continue to work under extremely difficult situations to save lives. Many have sacrificed comfort, some have sacrificed their health, and some have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to humanity. Nigeria owes them a debt of gratitude.
The ministry reiterates federal government commitment in a move to change the narrative by promoting social protection, by taking deliberate steps to empower vulnerable groups through its diverse initiatives from skills to grants. The Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program JEEP 3.0, the Renewed Hope Vocational and Skills Training Program, among other interventions, as key players commit to build safe societies and commitment to prioritize life-saving humanitarian interventions. The clarion call is for institutions and nations to respect and protect health workers, end impunity, build resilience by empowering communities, and honor all those who continue to make sacrifices by putting humanity first. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Similarly, Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, commends the courage, dedication and selfless service of humanitarian workers who bring hope and relief to people affected by conflict, disasters and other emergencies. This is her message marking the 2026 World Humanitarian Day with the theme, Strengthening Global Solidarity and Empowering Local Communities. She says the theme is a reminder that lasting humanitarian action depends on protecting aid workers, strengthening global solidarity, and empowering local communities to lead sustainable responses to a crisis, while urging Nigerians to always stand together in compassion, uphold the dignity of every human life, and support those who work tirelessly to serve the vulnerable. Now, in line with the FCT Minister's directive to demolish all structures obstructing water channels that resulted in the recent flooding that occurred, officials of the Development Control have commenced the removal of the affected structures within the Maitama district. Onoze Yakubu tells us more.
Metal fences, paved and concrete structures on the part of waterways are being removed by the demolition team, while buildings illegally erected will not be spared by the bulldozers. Meanwhile, the FCT Minister Yesen Wiki has directed the immediate stoppage of the use of green areas as well as parks and gardens in the capital city as car dealership lots. He decried the use of areas designated for parks and recreation like the Millennium Park and others as car lots, directing that all unauthorized use of such areas will be closely monitored to ensure compliance. This is part of the efforts of the FCT administration to manage flooding being experienced in some part of the federal capital city. Consequently, a task force has also been set up to enforce this directive. In the same vein, the minister has ordered investigation into the activities of some of the civil servants responsible for granting illegal approvals authorizing the use of green areas as car leadership slots. The affected civil servants, particularly the directors of parks and recreation, Abuja Environmental Protection Board, Traffic Management and Urban Affairs, have been summoned by the FCT Head of Service, Nancy Sabanti Nathan. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Let's look at health matters as the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has been commended by the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, for the establishment of the National Community Food Bank Program for the Southwest Zone in Abuja, Ogun State. A strategic intervention to address food and nutrition insecurity and improve health outcomes, particularly for mothers and children. Professor Patti stressed that adequate nutrition, especially during the first 1,000 days of a child's life, is critical to brain development and maternal health.
I encourage the governors in this zone in particular to set up community food banks in their respective states in partnership, not with me, but with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to facilitate the supply of food items and provide operational support required for the sustainability of this initiative.
The national team and our partners will continue to provide the necessary technical support for your success. The success of this program depends on strong partnerships across all sectors of society.
The community food bank subsequently over the next few weeks to also be flagged off in the south-south zone and the southeast zone.
He acknowledged contributions of the NNPC and Dangote Foundation, state governments, including Governor Dapo Abiodun, for setting the standard for implementation. In other news, healthcare of host communities, environmental protection, and corporate social responsibility must be observed by local corporate organizations as they operate within communities. Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya gave this directive while in talks with home-based manufacturing companies that could provide raw materials to fast-track the construction of the Gombe-Biu Superhighway project, flagged off by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in July. Emmanuel Akila feeds us.
No reason not to add to production.
Talks on legally acceptable business practices top the agenda as Governor Muhammadu Ino Yahaya receives management of a cement manufacturing company. Attention is focused on a win-win relationship between the company, government, and the host communities.
It takes two to go together. So as you expand, you must also consider the basic responsibilities that you owe to the people and especially to the local environment in which you are producing and operating.
As long-time manufacturer of cement, Governor Muhammadu Ino Yahaya breaks the good news of the opportunity that abound to the company.
Recently, the president has approved the construction of Gombe-Biu up to some parts of Maiduguri, and eventually is going to be extended to cover the Okanga site until Bauchi and Gombe, to be on the superhighway initiative, which is concrete road. It's going to be cement. At least the segment that falls within here should be our own market, ordinarily. But you need to produce to have that quantity to support it.
In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTN News.
The Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, has wrapped up its fourth session of mandatory continuing professional development in Enugu, of a call on members to embrace new technological innovation to master digital transition and ensure fiscal sustainability, efficient public service, and ethical excellence. Comfort IM reports on the highlights from the two-day program, which culminated in the induction of new members.
In a world where financial landscapes shift at lightning speed, the association stands firm on a critical principle and continuous evolution. Under the theme, Tax Reforms and Fiscal Sustainability, speakers highlighted the increasing importance of cybersecurity, digitalization in public management, account under National Anti-Money Laundering, Center Terrorism, Financial Regimes, Climate Finance and Sustainability Reporting.
Align our operation with the provision of the new tax law and be the catalyst for tax compliance and fiscal sustainability in our respective organizations.
The session provided a vital forum for extending practical insights and formulating strategies. Induction of about 1,500 new members, further expanding Anand's professional ranks and welcoming fresh talent into the association.
We hereby admit into the membership of the association and this membership induction.
A key part of the program included interactive syndicate sessions where participants engaged in in-depth discussions and collaborative problem-solving based on the lectures. As Nigeria transitioned into the era where fiscal sustainability is no longer a distant policy goal, but an active, measurable reality, operating proficiently under the new Tax Regime Act 2025 requires a deliberate shift in accounting practices. In Enugu, Comfort, I am NT News.
Congratulations to the inductees there. We've got more business news, and Musa Abubakar is right here. Musa.
Thank you. The Nigeria Data Protection Commission and Governors Forum is strengthening data governance structures with governments at the senatorial, sub-national level, rather. The latest is this workshop on NDPC Act General Implementation Directive Guide 2025 for state governments. Ayodeji Makinde reports.
Every single day, millions of Nigerians trade, connect and communicate through an ever-expanding digital ecosystem. But with this massive data exchange comes massive vulnerability. Leading the charge is the National Commissioner of the NDPC, Vincent Olatunji. Joining him are key state executives, the Deputy Governor of Kano State, alongside top-tier policymakers from both the federal and state levels. The underlying message of Guide 2025 is clear. Data compliance is no longer optional. It must become an institutional capacity.
So let's develop adequate, properly crafted memo to our superiors when we get back and follow up on implementation. We want to see actions at the state level in terms of compliance, and we're happy at the national level, at the Nigerian Tribunal Commission, to support you as much as you want.
As government becomes increasingly digital, citizens must remain confident that innovation will not come at the expense of their privacy, security, or trust.
We are committed to enhancing our institutional structures, policies, and practice to ensure that personal data entrusted to the government is adequately protected.
Delegates from ministries, departments, and agencies across all 36 states and the FCT are actively sharing cross-border insights. Together with data privacy experts, they are mapping out practical solutions for unified data management. In Abuja, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
Oil prices move higher on Wednesday as growing tensions in the Middle East raise fresh concerns about global energy supplies. Brent crude settled at $91.87 a barrel, getting about 0.7%, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude, or WTI, rose 1.1% to settle at $86.11 per barrel. Both benchmarks close at their highest level since July 24th. Nigeria's equities market extended its bearish run on Wednesday as profit-taking and selling pressure pushed the benchmark NGX All-Share Index lower by 863.02 points, or 0.3%, to close at 240,750.47 points. The decline was reflected in market capitalization, which stood at 155.42 trillion naira at the close of trading, as investors continue to adopt a cautious stance following recent market weakness. Well, that concludes business news. Hearing is back to you.
Many thanks, Musa, for the update. Now, the month of August is often described as a month of blessings, and for followers of the Tijaniya sect in Nigeria, that description appears fitting. Two of the world's top leaders of the Tijaniya order were in Nigeria for 2 weeks. Abdullahi Ajia reports on the key takeaways from their visit, including the reaffirmation of Tijaniya Supreme Leader in Nigeria.
On board the Algerian presidential jet was Sheikh Ali Al-Arabi, the world leader of the Tijaniya order. He was received by top government officials, the Algerian ambassador to Nigeria, and other diplomatic personnel. Accompanying him was Khalifa Mahi Sheikh Ibrahim Inyas and other Tijaniya leaders from Pakistan, Libya, and Egypt. It is the first time such a gathering of global Tijaniya leaders is being hosted in Nigeria. Their mission, according to organizers, is to offer prayers for Nigeria as the country prepares for the 2027 general elections. The visit is at the invitation of the Supreme Leader of the Tijaniya in Nigeria, Khalifa Ibrahim Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi. The delegation paid a courtesy visit to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the presidential villa. The president commended the Tijaniya leadership and followers for their role in promoting peaceful coexistence in the country.
Thank you for what you are doing for Islam. The great work that Tijaniyas are doing for Islam across Africa as a whole.
While at the Federal Ministry of Education, the leaders met with the minister, Dr. Tunji Alausa. Discussions focused on bilateral relations in education and scholarship opportunities for Nigerian students. In Kano, the delegation attended a Quranic graduation at the Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi Foundation and the annual Maulud of Sheikh Ahmad Tijani at the Emir's Palace. Bauchi was next for the visitors as the two world leaders expressed satisfaction with Tijaniya activities in Nigeria. They formally reaffirmed their support for Khalifa Ibrahim Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi to succeed his late father as the supreme leader of the Tijaniya in Nigeria. The visit concluded with a renewed commitment to strengthen ties among Tijaniya followers globally and to promote peace and mutual understanding, not only among Muslims, but across Nigerian society. In Abuja, Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
Let's pause briefly. Please remain tuned. Thank you for remaining tuned. The ongoing dialogue on the proposed resumption of oil production in Ogoniland, Rivers State, is facing fresh concerns, with Kagote calling for transparency and caution. While commending President Bola Tinubu for taking a decisive stand on Ogoni issues, the Apex Social Cultural Organization says alleged oil-related activities before the conclusion of the negotiations could heighten tension. Robinson Deratede has more.
For decades, the story of the Ogoni people has been defined by oil exploration, environmental concerns, and the struggle for justice. Now, as the federal government engages stakeholders on possible oil resumption, the process is entering another critical phase. The Ogoni Dialogue Committee, supervised by the National Security Advisor, was inaugurated in January 2025 to engage the Ogoni people and seek a peaceful resolution on the proposed resumption of oil production. Kagote commends President Bola Tinubu for intervention aimed at addressing some long-standing concerns of the people, including the award of the University of Environment, contracts and employment opportunities for Ogoni indigenes in the NNPCL. But the group says emerging developments are raising fresh apprehensions.
Accordingly, we respectfully request the Office of the National Security Advisor to 1. Investigate allegations that the name and authority of the NSC are being invoked by unauthorized persons in relations to appointment or nominations within the dialogue process.
Kagote alleges that oil-related activities in some parts of Ogoni, while negotiations are still ongoing, could undermine confidence in the dialogue process.
My concern has become even more urgent because negotiations are still underway, while oil-related activities have already commenced in some parts of Ogoniland.
I cannot explain to anybody how the 40 slots that was given by NNPCL as part of confidence building measures prior to the negotiations was distributed among the LGAs. Neither do I know the name of any of the beneficiaries, yet I'm a member of the committee.
The organization is urging Ogoni people to remain calm while calling on individuals to place collective interest above personal ambition. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Darateide, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the Radio, Television, Theatre and Arts Workers Union of Nigeria, RATAO, has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for appointing Adeola Oluwatosin Ajayi as Director General of the Department of State Services, describing him as a man of integrity, competence and proven capacity. Kalu said the appointment reflects the need to place capable Nigerians in strategic positions and noted that the DSS has a critical role in safeguarding national interest amid complex security and technological challenges. All right, looking at other news now, power supply is receiving a boost for homes, businesses and industries in some of Lagos' busiest corridors following the inauguration of new transmission infrastructure in Ikeja and Lekki. Minister of Power, Joseph Tegbe, says the upgrade is designed to increase capacity, ease pressure on the transmission network and meet the state's growing energy demand. Awal Yusuf Jibo has all the details.
At the Ikeja transmission substation in Alausa, a new 100 MVA 132/33 kV transformer has been installed. The upgrade raises the station's total capacity from 135 to 205 MVA. Minister of Power, Joseph Tegbe, says the additional 70 MVA can support about 70,000 households within the Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company franchise area.
With yet another strategic investment in our power infrastructure, we are demonstrating once again the determination of this administration, of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to confront the infrastructure constraints that have limited Nigeria's economic potentials.
At Lekki, the project includes 260 MVA transformers and 9 additional 33 kV feeders. This doubles capacity at the 132/33 kV level from 120 to 240 MVA, with an expected impact on more than 100,000 homes.
Apart from this substation, TCN has several fully new installed and operational transformers, as well as ongoing installations in its network, and it is a reflection of what is possible for ambition, partnership, and execution come together.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu represented urged citizens to protect the infrastructure and ensure the investments serve communities for years to come.
Let all of us protect this infrastructure. Let's go and get our meters. And at the end of the day, let's manage our use so that we don't also burst our pockets.
Funded with World Bank support and executed by Shanghai Electric Group, the Transmission Company of Nigeria says the projects form part of wider efforts to remove transmission bottlenecks, expand capacity and prepare the national grid for future demand. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
Away from Lagos, let's move to Borno, where the state government has invested over 12.6 billion naira in scholarships since 2023, with more than 8.6 billion naira committed to foreign scholarships. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum announced this while welcoming 294 beneficiaries of the foreign scholarship program as part of efforts to strengthen human capital development and build a skilled workforce for the state. Mohammed Goni reports that the occasion was held at the Government House, Maiduguri.
The beneficiaries who are studying or have completed programs in medicine, engineering, and other STEM disciplines in China, India, Malaysia, and Egypt have returned home to appreciate the state government for the scholarship scheme, which they said have touched their lives as children from humble background. The state authorities say the investment in scholarship is aimed at giving young people access to quality education and equipping them with knowledge and skills to contribute to the development of Borno State. Governor Zulum announced that over 2.6 billion naira will be provided to settle the 2026 foreign scholarship obligations of 158 students continuing their studies abroad.
We must also invest in those who will train the next generation. Therefore, directed the scholarship board to open applications for 250 lecturers of the University of Abuja to apply for postgraduate scholarships, PhD funding.
Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, Lana Bawakilbe, noted that 171 beneficiaries pursued postgraduate programs in India and Malaysia, while 104 others are studying medicine and engineering in China, and 19 are studying medicine in Egypt.
I'm proud to announce that 16 of our scholars graduated with distinction and academic honors.
Executive Secretary, Borno State Scholarship Board, Dr. Bala Issa said the program started with 301 beneficiaries, with 294 currently participating, expressing commitment to merit, transparency and accountability and due process in the administration of scholarship program. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Let's take another break. Please stay with us. This is News Extra on Africa's largest TV network. Let's step into Kogi briefly now, as the wife of the state governor, Sefinat Ahmed Ododo, has visited the woman set ablaze by her husband, now receiving treatment in a hospital in Lokoja. Ajibola Christopher reports that the governor's wife was represented by the wife of the deputy governor, Margaret Salifu.
The wife of the governor, Sefinat Ahmed Ododo, sympathized with the victim and expressed concern over the incident, assuring her of support and prayers for her recovery. The governor's wife presented relief materials to the victim to support her treatment and immediate needs. The items include cash, beverages, bedding materials, toiletries, and other medical supplies.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. Sorry, don't cry.
She called for continued support for the victim and urged relevant authorities and members of the public to ensure that the woman receives the necessary care as she battles for her life.
After pleading and he refused, he drew the petrol from his motorcycle and I ran outside the gate. So, but my attention was drawn to what I was cooking, so I drew closer. So when I came close, I poured the petrol on me. I ran outside.
Wife of Kogi State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Karimat Abdullahi, commended the security operatives for their timely intervention following the incident, stressing the importance of prompt intervention in cases of domestic violence and other forms of abuse.
That we should not take laws into our hands. We should always seek for the rightful way in resolving issues. And she's 100% committed to wipe out domestic violence among our society.
Karimat Abdullahi expressed hope that the victim will fully recover while calling for greater awareness and collective effort in preventing domestic violence in the society. Ajibola Christopher, NTA News.
Nigeria's animal health sector is set for a major boost as the federal government inaugurates a new model veterinary hospital in Maiduguri, Borno State. Strengthening disease diagnosis, treatment and surveillance, the facility is the fifth of 21 model veterinary hospitals being constructed nationwide under the Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, LPRES, as part of efforts to protect livestock, curb transboundary animal diseases and improve veterinary services across the country. That report by Yusuf Jika will come in our subsequent bulletins. Now, the authority of Ijebu-Ode local government, led by the council vice chairman, Titilayo Adeyemi, today besieged the premises of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Ijebu-Ode, to forcefully take over part of the station's landed property. This occurred early this morning when security personnel alerted the officer in charge, Jimo Abdusalam, that the local government chairman, Dari Alebiosu, and his entourage were inspecting part of the station's landed property without prior notification. Later in the day, the vice chairman, Titilayo Adeyemi, arrived at the station with some men with the intention of taking over a block of buildings within the premises for use by a magistrate court. This led to a confrontation between the local government officials and the station's management. The vice chairman and the officer in charge spoke further on the development.
Chairman of the local government. Yeah, and all these properties belongs to the community. Of course. So I was wondering. We are very sorry for that. We are acting on instruction.
Last year, or 2 years ago, he came here that NTA land belongs to them, where he apportioned part of the land to the judiciary for use, which we equally have written a letter to the headquarters based on that, and even informed properties. But coming here this morning, some people came that the chairman sent them here to come and do measurement and whatever, which we don't allow them to come into the premises. Later, the vice chairman came. We made it clear to him that we've been told not to allow anybody to come inside because this property belongs to federal government, NTA.
Let's now talk sports, and that's after this break. Please stay with us.
It's time for sports now. Let's begin straight away with basketball, as the Nigeria Basketball Federation has unveiled a 12-player squad for the FIBA Africa qualifiers. Sveta star Chima Muneke returns to the Tigers for the first time since 2021, while teammate Ebuka Ezundo is set for a senior debut. The squad also features NBA talents Josh Okogie, Udoka Zobike, and Chimise Metu. Nigeria, carrying a 4-2 record, will face Cameroon on August the 27th, South Sudan on August the 20th, and Cape Verde on August the 30th, with qualification hopes at stake. To volleyball now, the Nigeria Volleyball Federation has unveiled the final 12-player squad for the 2026 Women's African Nations Championship. The team, made up of home-based players and foreign-based professionals, has been in camp at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja, intensifying preparations for the continental competition. The championship runs from August the 23rd to September the 5th at the Kasarani Indoor Arena in Kenya, with 16 of Africa's top volleyball nations expected to compete. Nigeria has been drawn in a challenging group alongside Morocco, Algeria, and Uganda.
Yeah, we've given our 100%. The coaches are giving their 100%. So coming back empty-handed is not an option.
We promise to give our best. We are going to come out victorious, as God may have it.
They work as sisters, and that has been the message we've all been passing as technical crew to them. They must play for each other. They must take themselves as sisters.
Finally, Nigeria's senior women's handball team are also intensifying training in Abuja ahead of the inaugural IHF Women's Nations Trophy. African Zone 3 head coach Mike Tagar has assembled a 20-player squad, with the team undergoing intensive tactical, technical, and physical training ahead of the competition. The women are sharing camp with Nigeria's under-20 men's handball team, who are preparing for their continental tournament in Cote d'Ivoire.
We started early, like last week, preparing, and I think there has been progress. The girls are catching up. We have some friendly games lined up for next week, and we think that we'll be prepared for the championship by the 2nd of September.
And that's our beat on sports tonight. Let's now return to Nyare.
Many thanks, Buddy. And that concludes News Extra tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. From the entire production crew, do have a good night.